Mercury, the planet of extreme. Mercury might be the closest planet to the sun, but don't assume it's just a giant ball of heat. It's actually one of the most extreme places in the entire solar system. During the day, surface temperatures skyrocket to a mind-melting 430 degrees Celsius, hot enough to turn lead into liquid. But once the sun dips below the horizon, Mercury turns into a frozen wasteland, with temperatures plummeting to minus 180 degrees Celsius. That's colder than the coldest places on Earth. Why such dramatic swings? Mercury barely has an atmosphere, just a thin exosphere, composed of atoms blasted off its surface by solar winds. This exosphere is too thin to trap heat or distribute warmth. So when it's day, you roast, and when night falls, you freeze. But the temperature isn't the only challenge. Mercury has no weather, but it also offers zero protection from solar radiation, with almost 7 times the solar irradiance Earth receives. Unfiltered sunlight here is basically deadly. Plus, the terrain is brutal. Sharp craters, steep cliffs, and loose regolith that could sabotage any landing. And here's the kicker. Mercury's day lasts 59 Earth days. So if you land on the sunlit side, you're stuck in that 430 degrees Celsius furnace for nearly 2 months. Unfortunately, your suit wouldn't survive that long. NASA's most advanced suits max out around 121 degrees Celsius. On the flip side, nighttime is no better, with temperatures dipping far below the safe threshold for survival suits at minus 157 degrees Celsius. Your best bet? Try landing in the Terminator zone, that narrow twilight region between night and day. The temperatures there are slightly more tolerable, but even that thin safety window shifts as the planet rotates slowly, and the environment is still hostile. Surviving on Mercury would take more than a strong suit. It would take an engineering miracle. Venus, Earth's evil twin. At first glance, Venus looks familiar, about the same size and gravity as Earth, and relatively close at 40 million kilometers away. The trip might only take a few months, but make no mistake, Venus is a death trap wrapped in clouds of acid. As you approach, you'd be greeted by thick, yellowish clouds. They're made of sulfuric acid, capable of corroding almost anything, including your lungs, within seconds. Let's say you're wearing a super advanced spacesuit that somehow filters that out. As you descend, things only get worse. The deeper you go, the denser the atmosphere becomes, mostly made of carbon dioxide. Visibility plummets. The air becomes so thick that you'd feel like you're sinking into a planet-sized pressure cooker. At ground level, the pressure is an insane 92 times what you'd experience on Earth, equivalent to being 900 meters underwater. Oh, and it's 450 degrees Celsius on the surface. That's hotter than Mercury, even though it's farther from the sun, thanks to a runaway greenhouse effect. Only 10% of sunlight makes it to the surface, so it's gloomy and yellow, like a permanent toxic twilight. Even with a reinforced suit, you wouldn't last long. The thick air would make every movement a slow-motion struggle, and if the crushing pressure didn't kill you, your suit would eventually fail, and the acidic atmosphere would devour you from the inside out. Mars, humanity's best hope. Compared to its hellish neighbors, Mars feels almost doable. Daytime temperatures at the equator can hit a tolerable 20 degrees Celsius. But don't pack your bags just yet. Nights still drop to minus 73 degrees Celsius or lower, and near the poles, temperatures can plunge to minus 125 degrees Celsius. Mars has a super thin atmosphere, just 1% of Earth's, and it's 95% carbon dioxide. So there's almost no breathable air, no weather insulation, and no significant protection from cosmic radiation. The natural radiation dose on Mars is around 24 to 30 rads per day, about 40 to 50 times what we deal with on Earth. Then there are the dust storms. These aren't just breezy days with some flying sand. Some cover the entire planet, last for weeks, and reach wind speeds of 100 kilometers per hour. The dust is so fine, it can seep into machinery, short out electronics, and reduce solar power efficiency. The terrain isn't easy either. Steep canyons, dusty valleys, and ancient volcanic plains make exploration tricky. Any hope of survival on Mars would require pressurized habitats, radiation shielding, airtight suits, and a fully closed life support system. Still, if humanity is going to colonize another planet, Mars is the only one that seems even remotely feasible. Jupiter, the giant of death. Jupiter isn't just the biggest planet in the solar system. It's a monstrous gas giant that literally radiates danger. The first problem? Radiation. Jupiter emits enough to fry electronics from 300,000 kilometers away. Without an ultra-high-tech radiation shield, you'd be toast before you even got close. Now, let's say you had a magic suit that could block all that radiation. You'd still have to deal with 2.4 times Earth's gravity, meaning your body would be pulled downward with bone-crushing force. As you descend into the upper atmosphere, you pass through bands of ammonia clouds at minus 150 degrees Celsius, being tossed around by 482 kilometers per hour winds. Descend deeper, and things start to get surreal. The pressure increases rapidly, turning the atmosphere into a supercritical fluid, a strange state that's not quite a gas, not quite a liquid. Go even further, and you'll encounter metallic hydrogen, a bizarre, ultra-dense form of hydrogen that behaves like liquid metal under extreme pressure. And if you miraculously make it through all of that, you'd reach the core. We're not entirely sure if it's solid, liquid, or some exotic plasma. What we do know is that temperatures can reach 24,000 degrees Celsius, 4.5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. Add in pressures 100 million times that of Earth's atmosphere, and it's pretty clear Jupiter is not a place for humans, or for anything really. Saturn, the windswept world of beauty and chaos. Saturn is often seen as the jewel of the solar system, with its spectacular ring system and pale golden hue. But beneath that beautiful appearance lies one of the most dangerous environments you could ever encounter. First off, getting there is no small feat. Saturn is surrounded by 146 moons, and navigating through this crowded region without crashing would require either masterful piloting or a ship tough enough to tank a hit from a small moon or an asteroid. Then there are the rings themselves, millions of particles made of ice, rock, and shattered moons. Fly too close, and your ship could be shredded by razor-sharp debris traveling at thousands of kilometers per hour. Now, let's assume you make it to the upper atmosphere. You'd be greeted by something extraordinary, electric purple and red auroras dancing across the equator, caused by charged particles slamming into hydrogen in the planet's magnetic field. It's gorgeous, yes, but also a sign of the intense electromagnetic violence happening in the background. Then come the winds. These are hurricane force, reaching speeds of over 1,800 kilometers per hour, fast enough to flatten anything not bolted down. The further you descend into Saturn's thick layers of clouds, the colder it gets. Temperatures can reach a numbing minus 250 degrees Celsius near the top layers. The clouds are mostly ammonia and methane, forming eerie yellow-white bands that stretch for thousands of kilometers. Eventually, you pass into denser layers, where the gases compress into a liquid form. At this stage, the temperature starts to rise again, but pressure becomes your biggest threat. It's like diving deeper and deeper into an alien ocean, one that crushes anything not perfectly sealed. Go deep enough and you'd eventually hit the molten rocky core, which scientists believe is around 11,700 degrees Celsius, nearly twice as hot as the surface of the sun. Add in pressures over 1,000 times Earth's atmospheric pressure, and you have an environment no machine we've built could survive. Uranus, the sideways ice giant. Uranus might sound like the punchline of a joke, but it's one of the weirdest and most chilling planets in the solar system. Literally, it's the only planet that rotates on its side, with an axial tilt of 98 degrees, meaning its poles experience 42-year-long days and 42-year-long nights. It's also incredibly far, about 2.9 billion kilometers from Earth. A journey here could take nearly a decade with current propulsion tech, but let's say you make it. First thing you'd notice, the cold. Uranus holds the title for the coldest planet in the solar system, with minimum temperatures around minus 224 degrees Celsius. That's only a few degrees above absolute zero. As you pass through the rings, which are darker, thinner, and more elusive than Saturn's, you'd enter an atmosphere filled with hydrogen, helium, and methane gas. The methane is what gives Uranus its pale blue color, but don't be fooled by the pretty hue. The air is toxic and unbreathable. Descend further, and you'll hit violent winds up to 900 kilometers per hour, followed by a bizarre and terrifying phenomenon, diamond rain. Under high pressure, methane molecules break apart, and carbon atoms compress into actual diamonds that fall like hail. Beautiful? Yes. Deadly? Absolutely. Even if you had the most advanced spacesuit known to science, you wouldn't make it very far. The pressure around the mid-atmosphere is about 100 times Earth's, and it only increases the deeper you go. No solid surface means you just keep falling, crushed eventually by forces far beyond what any material can withstand. Neptune, the supersonic abyss. And finally, we arrive at Neptune, the most distant major planet in our solar system, orbiting a staggering 30 times farther from the sun than Earth. Here, darkness reigns. The sun appears as just a faint bright dot in the sky, barely casting any light at all. Despite its distance, Neptune is a planet of extremes. The upper atmosphere is frigid, reaching temperatures around minus 218 degrees Celsius, but below that icy layer lies a hellish interior. The planet is wrapped in dense layers of hydrogen, helium, and methane, just like Uranus, giving it that vivid blue color. But make no mistake, this is no tropical sea. One of Neptune's most terrifying features is its winds, which are the fastest in the entire solar system, reaching speeds over 2,100 kilometers per hour. That's faster than the speed of sound on Earth. These supersonic gales rip across the planet, stirring up massive storms, including the famous Great Dark Spot, a tempest as large as Earth itself. And yes, Neptune also experiences diamond rain, created under the crushing pressure deep inside the atmosphere. At the planet's core, temperatures may soar up to 7,000 degrees Celsius, hotter than the sun's surface. Combine that with crushing forces, tens of thousands of times stronger than Earth's atmosphere, and you've got a pressure cooker from another world. Neptune has no solid surface either. The deeper you go, the stranger things get, until you reach a realm of superheated slush, exotic ices, and theoretical high-pressure materials we've never even seen on Earth. Whatever lies at its core is hidden beneath layers of matter in states that defy human understanding.